Final word daily, Adam Collins and Jeff Lemon. My voice is still knackered. That's why Jeff's going to tell us all about the final day here in 30 seconds.
3 for 192 when West Indies resumed. Pat Cummins was on the field captaining but still wasn't bowling. It was up to someone else and it was Nathan Lyon. 6 for 128, I'm going to say.
Yep.
The first 2 wickets of the day, which were important, Mayers and then Craig Brathwaite, who was not out overnight on his century. He was out for 114. There, 16, thereabouts. And, they managed to chip their way through them. Good resistance from the West Indies. Roston Chase fought hard. Some swinging from Alzarri, Joseph. They batted for quite a long time into the day. 333, not bad in the 4th innings, but they lose by 126.
Yeah, they batted, I think, for 111 overs for the 333 with the captain, Brathwaite, top scoring with 110. Loved the podcast with you and Brat talking about that last night, adding 9 runs to his overnight tally. But it was really the fact that he lost Kyle Mayers early on, which just meant that the equilibrium was off. He hit a beautiful cover drive to start Mayers, and we're thinking, well,
he's done it before.
300 to win on the final day. They hit 285 on that final day in Chittagong on his test debut when he made that famous 210 not out last year. But as soon as Mayers was gone, Brathwaite lasted about another half an hour before he was bowled by Lyon. Pinned back on the crease, really good bowling, because Lyon, I thought, did a better job of setting it wider outside the off stump than picking his moments to come straight, whereas sometimes it can be the opposite with him deeper into a test match. Yeah. And from there, he was in his groove. He went past Ashwin and his 442 test wickets, so he's into outright 8th, I think it is now. Yeah, he's overtaken 9 bowlers in the last 12 months, Lyon, including Ashwin. I'm sure Ashwin and he will go back and forth
as snakes and ladders.
Make our way. I just interviewed him then on radio, actually, and we had that conversation about how next year it's going to be, in not no small part, it'll be a face-off between the 2 senior spinners.
I wonder if it will actually be face-off. Imagine if they swapped faces and they had to go pretend to be one another for some sort of secret government business. So with Lyon, the thing was the way that he tricked him in the air. So he got Mayers onto the front foot when he shouldn't have been playing off the front foot, edging one to slip, and he got Brathwaite playing off the back foot when he shouldn't have been playing off the back foot, and that just made it too difficult. The ball spun in. He ended up just desperately trying to keep it out. Crashed into his stumps, and there was nothing he could do from there. And so it's not like it was game over, but having dislodged those 2, it was like it'll be a matter of time until the Australians work through the rest of them, and they will, and they won't have to use Cummins. They brought Travis Head in. Cameron Green bowled some, but Travis Head's turning into a useful option. There was a bit of spin on the last day, and what do you know? He picks up the next wicket.
I think with Head it's flight, isn't it? He bowls slower than Lyon, and when the breeze suits, as it's all the way through the test match, it's been gusty in there in the seating bowl, and he was able to get a couple to just to drift away beautifully, and that was certainly his second wicket was purely through that device. And you're right, this year he took the 4 for goal, which granted was on a dust bowl and all the rest of it, sandpit, Thomas Muster stuff, but this one was not. And 2 wickets here in addition to 99 runs, a great restart to the year for him, having had that lull in the middle.
The observation from our colleague Ethan Meldrum that when Travis Head got Jason Holder out, he overtook Jason Holder for test wickets this year. That was Travis Head's 5th test wicket of the year, and Holder's taken 4. Yeah, the Holder one wasn't a great delivery, but it was a wide ball. He threw his bat at it, nicked it. But the one that took the edge that Steve Smith ended up picking up, I mean, that beats Alex Carey. That edge is going so quickly that it goes past Carey's gloves. Yep. It's on the inside of the first slip. He's got to go back towards the keeper, and he takes it diving across, both legs in the air. And here's the thing, maybe you've picked up on this as well. The bit, that 3 years or so where Steve Smith wasn't batting so well, his catching wasn't good either. And I think, I've seen a correlation between the 2. When he's catching flies at first slip, that's when he's batting well at the same time. And it seemed notable that those 2 things dipped, and now his catching's back up, as his batting seems to have got back
145 catches at test level, Steve Smith, which puts him
50 off Nathan Lyon.
51 off Nathan Lyon now, which we might just hold on to that for the Hall of Fame later. I've got a little stat for that one. Right. But the way he caught throughout the test, really, he's got only 4 people are ahead of him for Australia in terms of catches at test level. And and as Simon Kadich was pointing out on our commentary at some point today, that walking into the New South Wales dressing room at 19, he was immediately into the cordon, and usually it's kind of a bit of a seniority thing, right? He stands at first and second, but Smith straight away had those big hands and knew what to do with them.
Big hands, I know you're the one. Josh Hazlewood bowled way better than 1 wicket.
When he got that wicket, he threw his head back like, at last, finally.
But it was the same in the first innings as well. He bowled so well through the Test match. He just does the Josh Hazlewood thing. He gets Joshua De Silva trying to punch off the back foot, and that's always a risky sort of shot to play. I remember Vic Marks telling us about this in Perth a few years ago. He's like, you never play that shot in Perth. Like, he was talking about the old whacker, but with the bounce, he's like, you can't do that. That's not a shot that you're allowed to play. And he tried to go for it to back foot punch through cover point and ends up nicking into the cordon. But it was kind of fun with the Roston Chase show with Alzarri Joseph, because Chase was just blocking it out as he's wont to do. He did hit 1-6. I love when they, maybe I'll save that for Hall of Fame actually. We'll come back to it.
Well, they hit 4 sixes in their partnership.
Yeah.
Which is not for nothing. I allowed myself the indulgence, the ball before Joseph was dismissed for 43 rather. I allowed myself the indulgence of saying, sure, it's 3 wickets to win, but it's 183 runs to win. I just thought it was worth reintroducing that to the mix, because at that juncture, those two are kind of going for it. Yeah. They're not really going for the runs, they're just batting aggressively.
Yeah,
if they're still there at 2.
If they don't get out, if they do this for another 2 hours, then
unlikely as it was to be.
The margin's not that big. 126, was it?
It might be a bit more than that. 164.
164. Yeah. That's not a massive margin considering the amount of time. Considering that we were wrapped up well before tea on this last day.
Considering Australia made 598 as well. The Windies have batted for 209 overs in the Test match, I think it works out to be. And had you gone the over-under at the start, you would have said, well, if they bat for 209 overs, they've had a pretty good Test match. And look, I don't want to be patronising in saying that. They've still been beaten heavily. Australia did declare 2 down in the second dig, but in perspective, this might just be a bit of a stepping stone. We've talked about marginal gains, getting it into the penultimate session from where they were on day 2 with an understaffed bowling attack, with Seals not doing a lot of heavy lifting with the ball, with Roach injured, with a lot of responsibility on Alzarri Joseph, on Roston Chase, who has batted well today for a half century, but he's not a first choice spinner anymore. They've probably done well enough here to consider it almost a pass mark in the circumstances.
They've avoided the thing, and this is often the worst and the most dispiriting thing. Once you concede a massive score, then you go out there and get bowled out for 120 on the same pitch where the other mobs just made 500, 600. That's when you really feel terrible about yourself.
The scoreboard pressure wasn't kind of given into.
Sure, so they can go, okay, well, we bowled poorly and we gave away too many runs, but we didn't give in, and we did take it deep into the 5th day. So I think that's not for nothing. Australia obviously expected to win this match. There's that dilemma of playing at home, right, where you don't get credit for it if you win because you're supposed to win, but you do get smashed if you don't win. And so in the position they've ended up in, this is the 22nd Test match where Stark, Cummins, Hazlewood, Lyon have played together. That's extraordinary. I was trying to figure some stuff out today. I don't think anyone else has done that.
They've played more Tests together than Gillespie, McGrath, Lee, Warren. We were doing a lot of sort of comparisons through the week about those 2 groups and their relative averages when playing together. And you're right, and they need this 4 to stay together as much as they can, and that makes the Cummins injury, and it is an injury, drawn into focus. He would never bowl on today. I know they tried to give the impression that he might bowl with the second year ball if required, but we saw him scored a couple of balls to the right. That might have been self-preservation given where they were in the Test match, but it looks like he was under a fair bit of duress. So in all probability, overwhelmingly likely that Scott Boland plays at Adelaide Oval next week.
Well, Test match average of 9.55. Does it go down? Can he keep it going down? Does he break into double figures? What a tragedy that would be. But he has a lot of bowling to do to reach the 2,000 delivery minimum qualification to get on the official averages list.
I think from memory, that's about 10 Test matches on average to get in there.
I think he's bowled 484 balls. That's what's popping up in my mind.
In 2 Tests. So he need to keep playing well. He might play like 3 or 4 of this 15, right? Because they're not going to bowl. Well, no, that's not right. Because he won't play at all in India.
Yeah.
He might play 1 to 2 this summer and 1 to 2 in England.
He might play in India. They don't mind him for sort of cart horse work either.
It's more that the probability of them playing more than 2 seamers when Stark and Cummins are in the side, they want Stark to reverse swing and they'll want Cummins to lead. It's kind of.
But England had about 16 players sick over in Pakistan, so you never know. Look. One up for Australia. Anything else to cover before we Hall of Fame?
I think we Hall of Fame.
Okay. Final word Hall of Fame brought to you by Woodstock Cricket. They make officially the best cricket bat in the world and the second best cricket bat in the world. And you can get 20% off TFW20. That's your code.
I'll tell you what, when Josh De Silva had that thick edge behind today, it came off beautifully. Nice thick edges.
I flew right into the cordon.
It did. Nice catching height. If you're going to edge them, you wanted the come through up here.
He hasn't had a great test match, but he has made a test ton with that Woodstock bat. So, yeah.
Woodstockcricket.co.uk, TFW20. Buy yourself a bat for Christmas.
Why not? Hall of Fame, the bit that I was getting back to before, I can't even remember what it was, so you better go first.
Okay, it was... yes. What I was going to put in there was the fact that Taylor and Warne combined for 51 dismissals. By that I mean bowled by Warne and caught by Taylor to slip. 51 now for Lyon Smith.
Yeah.
I think that's significant. And that's the most ever for a fielder-bowler combination. Of course, there are several wicket-keeper bowlers above that, but outfielders, if you like, with bowler, that now is joint first, and I thought that was noteworthy.
Okay, there must be a
Brat was actually all over that. We were sleuthing it at the back of the box.
There must be a Court Dravid bowled Kumble kind of situation where there'd be quite a
Probably
lot.
more, that's for Australia. I might not have had that appropriate caveat. For Australia, it's the most.
Well, just that he took the most outfield catches, Dravid, so I'm wondering who the bowler was that he took the most catches off. I'd throw in Mitchell Stark's catch to finish off the test match.
So sensational
tea break's coming up, and it's like, they don't want to extend it into the last session. Can they finish this off? Comes flying in after he dropped that one at deep third, at fine leg yesterday when he was similarly on the move. This one flying in off line, diving in to give him another 6 for that's 9 times that Nathan Lyon's taken 6 wickets or better.
I love the fact that Lyon did it in the 4th innings for the 2nd time this year. I mean, there's the Lahore performance, which is close to the best of his career, I would say, if you kind of consider the context of it being the final day of the series and all the pressure being on him.
The Lahorements, if you will.
The Lahorements. Today, 6 wickets. It's the 5th time in his career he's taken a 5-wicket bag in the 4th innings.
There you go.
He's taken 21 fifers in Test cricket. He's up around 450 Test wickets. If he plays all 15, he'll be... he won't reach Courtney Walsh's 519. He's next, by the way. Courtney Walsh is the next on that list. There's a pretty big gap after overhauling so many bowlers in the low 400s. There's a fair bit of work to do to get to 519, but if he plays all 15, he'll be up around that mark, at least beyond 500.
My last nomination is when Roston Chase got to his 50 and they threw the package up on the TV and it said 2 4s, 1 6. It was a very short package. They normally throw in every good shot that someone's played, and he played about 200 forward defensive. So, it was about a 6-second highlight package.
Yeah, there are a few of those highlight packages cut today where there wasn't a lot going on, but credit to Roston Chase, who came back in the side after averaging 13 and 17 in the last 2 calendar years. We all thought Rakeem the Dream would be here. He's not here. We're not quite sure why he's not here, but Chase didn't bowl well, but he did well in the second dig with the bat, and that's something to build for next week to Adelaide, which is where we go next.
That is where we go next. The Final Word Daily will resume in Adelaide, outside Adelaide Oval. You can chime in and see us there. If you want to help us keep making the show, patreon.com/thefinalword.
Other bits and pieces. We've got... are we doing a story time?
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, Jeff and Brett are doing a story time. I've just got to go and rest for a couple of days, otherwise I won't be able to talk in Adelaide. But I am doing an interview on Tuesday at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which you won't want to miss. It's a bit left field.
Okay.
It's a bit left field, but it's going to be fucking brilliant.
It's a bit left. It's a bit centre wing.
There it is. It's a bit centre wing. There you go. That's better. It's a bit centre wing.
Yeah, broadcast flank.
It's a bit born to play in September.
It's a
born to play finals.
It's a bit busted ribs. It's a bit going through with it. It's a bit punctured lung. Going through with it anyway.
And Forges.
Yeah, Spotlight sale, $9.99.
Can't work it out from that. You're never going to work it out.
No, and it probably won't mean much to you, but you should listen to it anyway. We will keep making shows because that's what we do. Keep an eye on the feed, on the old YouTubes or on the audio.
These videos are good, by the way. Jeff's doing a great job pulling them all together. So we've got the new microphones and all the rest of it. So if you're a non-YouTube person with us usually, why not jump on there and hit the bell and you can see the videos pop up whenever Jeff posts one. They're nice.
Yeah, share them around. Tell your friends. The more the merrier. All right, final word. Jeff Lemon, Adam Collins. See you later.
Ta.